who's ready for hockey season right around the corner? Petey? Petey? Hello and happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another edition of the PHNX Hockey Podcast. We're coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit circlek.com for details. And as always, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. I'm Leah Merrill, here with nobody today. Petey is on his way to Bemidji, Minnesota, if that can shock anyone. But we have Kevin behind the Mac keeping me company. And lucky for us, Petey will be very involved in today's show, just in a different way. And it's ironic, Kevin, that the two Wildcats are left alone to talk all things ASU hockey. But I think we can set the rivalry aside when it comes to ASU hockey, don't you think? Especially with no NCAA team at the U of A currently.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, we both love hockey. I mean, if we can't have professional hockey in Phoenix, like let's talk some ASU. It's high quality.
It is.
We might be Wildcats, but we're not delusional. ASU is good.
Yeah, it is. And also, yeah, like Kevin said, with the Coyotes gone, this is a great hockey product here in the Valley. It's so close to being here. We're really excited. We're going to be covering Arizona State throughout the season, and we want everybody to get excited too. For those counting, it's 23 days till ASU hockey season opener at Air Force, and 1 month, just 30 days away from the home opener against Michigan. So today's the 11th. The home opener is October 11th. It's in our sights, so we're very close. Shout out Charles and Nick in the chat. Thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, I'm here alone. Be here in the chat with me. Let's have a conversation. But Petey, I mentioned he's going to be involved in today's show. That's because Petey went out to the ASU practice this week to catch up with some of the guys there. He spoke with both Lukas Sillinger and with head coach Greg Powers. For those who might not know, Lukas Sillinger, the name might ring a bell. Of course, he's the son of Sillinger, who played here in Arizona for the Coyotes. His brother Cole, of course, plays for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he's been really influential on this Sun Devil team. He led the team in points last season with 48. Believe he set a single season record for points by a Sun Devil, and he transferred to ASU just a couple seasons ago from Bemidji State. So, of course, Petey knew this was somebody that he wanted to talk to, and Lukas Sillinger, of course, is going to play a huge role in this year's Sun Devils team. So Petey, of course, had to bring back the faithful old Walkin and Talkin. So without further ado, here's Petey walking and talking with Lukas Sillinger.
It's Petey with PHNX, and I know it's time for walking and talking. Coyotes are gone, so it's time to talk a little ASU hockey today. Got ASU hockey for Lukas Sillinger, son of former Coyote Mike Sillinger. We'll talk about that a little later. Lukas, first off, how does a guy from Regina, Saskatchewan, you played for Penticton?
Correct.
How do you find your way to college hockey from Penticton?
Well, as you mentioned earlier, my dad played a long time in the league. He's very familiar with the kind of routes that people can take that best advantages their type of style. And I think for myself, I was more of a late bloomer. So the WHL didn't really work out for me, as I was born and raised in Regina, like you said, on the western side there. And after I went to Penticton my very first year, Fred Harbinson, the coaching staff there, did a great job of twisting my arm and introduced me to college hockey.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I took off and got to play a few good years in Bemidji with my brother, and then had a great chance to come to Arizona when the transfer portal opened up, and now here we are.
You talk about Bemidji State, and we'll just talk a minute about that. My hometown, by the way, Bemidji State, you got a lot of good opportunities there, and it's a good hockey team, but you played some really good hockey there. Like, you were one of their leading scorers. You were a guy that really excelled there in Bemidji. What made the change from Bemidji to here at a beautiful ASU campus?
Well, like you said, both schools are fantastic schools, but they're both very different from each other. I had 2 years at Bemidji to play with Owen, my older brother. We had a really mature team that went, had 2 great successful years there. And then when I got the opportunity to come to Arizona, it was a no-brainer. This program is second to none.
I mean, look at this right now, Lucas.
They got a brand new facility, brand new rink. Yeah. And Coach Powers really brought me in. And, credit to all the guys that were here and making me feel belonged. And now it's kind of our turn to be the tradition onto the younger path.
Yeah. How much does that mean to you now? Because you're an older player here at ASU, and you've seen the banners in the building we are the tradition. As a leader now, you're a leader of this group. How important is that to you, the Be the Tradition slogan?
Yeah, when you have some alumni that have played here in recent years, and when they come and give us speeches, that's something that we really take out. Everyone that comes back to Arizona State always talks about how special a place it is and how you can't take the times here for granted. So becoming close to your teammates and really taking care of each other off the ice is what's going to translate on the ice.
Last year you wore the A for the Sun Devils, and you're part of the leadership group, but you're a year older, a year more experienced. I know they haven't named the captains yet, but do you see yourself as kind of a mentor to some of these young players?
I mean, whether you're wearing an A or not, whatever's on your jersey, I think it's good for everyone to be a leader in the locker room. I feel like we truly have 20, however many guys we have, leaders in that locker room. And it's just part of hockey. Everyone's a leader. Everyone kind of builds that quality of trait as they grow up. And just really excited for what's to come.
People that haven't seen you play, you can put up the numbers. Like last year, you put up 48 points. Am I wrong? Is that an ASU record for points in a season? I think it is, by the way. Look it up. Points in a season, Lukas Sillinger. What can fans expect to see from Lukas Sillinger on the ice?
Just playing my same game, confident, crafty with the puck, and a 200-foot game that's going to give it his all each and every night.
So that led you to this summer. You got the opportunity to go to the LA Kings rookie camp over the summer. Rumor has it, though, you lost your gear at LAX on the way. How was that experience, getting an opportunity to skate with some of the LA Kings draft picks and getting an opportunity to play with some professional players over the summer?
Yeah, that was actually a few years ago. But
was it?
It was a couple.
I thought it was this summer.
Yeah, the gear scenario there was kind of a funny story. My gear didn't show up until later on, so I was using all new equipment. But I got the chance to meet Luke Pavich there, one of our goalies that now transferred here. And that's the hockey world. You never know who you're going to run into. So, treating each other how you want to be treated off the ice is going to translate on the ice.
We talked about your dad a little bit before, Mike, and he's a guy that played a lot of games here in Arizona, but had an opportunity to play in a lot of different teams. How much do you think he influenced the way you play the game?
Lots. I'm very grateful for my dad, grateful for my entire family. Kudos to my mom. She's a superhero, having to deal with us 3 boys. But like I said earlier, he just kind of gave us the options and really kind of paved out what are going to be our best routes to play professionally, and that's what we're trying to do. We all want to play hockey for as long as we can, and we're lucky to look up to someone like him who has played a long time.
You talked about last season again too, in the Hobie Baker Award. You're a nominee for the Hobie Baker, college hockey's top player. Do you think about that stuff coming into this season, or do those individual personal things just kind of take care of themselves?
You know what, I think those things just kind of take care of themselves. When you're worrying about that stuff, the bounces aren't going your way. But when you're doing the things that are, looked at as correct, then that's when good karma comes into play. We
had an opportunity to talk to Ty Murchison a week or two ago, and we talked about the expectations of this Sun Devil team. coming into this season, you're joining a new conference. Where do you guys think you can fit into the best conference in college hockey?
I mean, we're going to set the bar high. You know, we're going to set the standard high. That's what we do here. We're looking to make a push and, you know, win the division, make the tournament. Like you said, we got a lot of new faces here. A great freshman class, and then a lot of stud transfers that came to our program to make it better.
Do you think, though, we talked about the transfer portal, and Bemidji State is a good example. The transfer portal from Bemidji, unfortunately, goes one way, and that's usually out. ASU now, it's coming in. And do you think this is becoming a real attractive place for NCAA college kids to come play hockey?
Absolutely. This program has skyrocketed, and it's only going to get better. You know, as the years go, Coach Powers and the coaching staff did a great job of building this place, and it's only going to skyrocket.
I'm going to open the door just because it's hot, and you're wearing a sweatshirt, so we're not done yet, but we're going to get inside where you can cool off a little bit. Oh, how much better is that?
That's relaxing.
We'll finish. See, this is another problem you don't have in Bemidji, where you need to cool off, because that's easy to get where it's nice and cool in Bemidji. I'm going to ask you a few questions about some of your teammates, though.
Absolutely.
Okay, ready? So, I know it's important, and I was just in the locker room just now, and I heard the music. Music's incredibly important. Who is the DJ of the ASU Sun Devil hockey program?
Well, it's Arizona's local, David Heimovich.
He's in charge of the music?
He's in charge of it. He knows what he's doing.
Okay, that's important. It's a big role in a team. Trust me. Then, this one's tough because you guys are sharp. You guys travel. You look good when you travel. Who, when going around campus, who leads the way in the best drip on the ASU Sun Devil hockey team? Who has got the guy that you go, that's the guy?
I'll go with the big man, number 10, Tucker Ness.
Sorry, another Minnesotan, by the way. And on the same thing, who's really struggling? Like, who needs help? Like, Buddy. Like, who needs that help? Really, on the fashion, walking on campus, like, Buddy. Like, sharpen up.
I'm going to be hard on this guy a little bit, only because he's my roommate and I live with him and I've seen his closet, but Chase Ham.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
You heard it here. Well, I'm glad we got the opportunity. One thing we always end our interviews with, this is going to be hard. I apologize, I'm throwing this at you. We do a thing called Weekend Binge, where we try to give advice to people for a streaming service, something, a TV show, a movie, something you're watching online that you go, okay, here's a really good series, whether Netflix, Hulu, doesn't matter. What is Lukas Sillinger binging right now?
Right now, I'm currently watching the Hard Knocks and the Chicago Bears.
There you go. That's sports. Big surprise. The sports guy does the sports thing. Thanks so much, Lukas. Appreciate you taking the time. Really looking forward to watching this team. I think this is going to be a great year of ASU hockey. Thanks for following and tuning in. Make sure you join the PHNX. Dial in the show. We're going to keep up with ASU all season long. I'm Petey. As always, we'll see you at the rink.
Thank you again to Lukas Sillinger for catching up with Petey for I believe that was the first Sun Devil hockey Walkin and Talkin maybe ever. So great stuff from Lukas Sillinger. Really excited to watch him play this season along with the rest of the Sun Devils. And I also love getting the scoop on who has the best fashion and who needs help. Hopefully we're going to get to know a lot of these guys better this season. Like Petey mentioned, we had talked to Ty Murchison earlier this year. By the way, Ty Murchison will be at the NCHC Media Day up in Minnesota also, which I believe is tomorrow. That's Thursday. So you can check out the NCHC social accounts. I believe Ty Murchison will be doing a takeover of both the Twitter and the Instagram for the NCHC. Again, just a lot to be excited about with ASU joining this conference and a lot of changes on this roster with incoming freshmen, with tons of transfers, a new assistant coach. I'm really excited. We're going to get to more in just a little bit. We're going to hear from Greg Powers after the break. But first things first, one of ASU's slogans, be the tradition. They're laying the foundation for what this program is going to be. And speaking of foundations, our friends at Empire today, a floor is everything in a house. If you've ever changed the floor in your house, you know just how much it makes or breaks your entire house. And if you listened to last week's audio episode, you heard Petey say the house stuff was finally done. It's not. Plot twist, because you just need to make sure you're hiring the right people who do the job the right way. And that's what Empire today does. They make sure that the work is high quality. They make sure that you're happy with the work. And that's something we experienced here when they installed the floor, in our other studio. They just do amazing work. You don't have to go to the big box stores. You can do everything right from your home. That's what you want when you're when you're doing a huge home renovation, you want that ease and you want that care. So you can schedule a free in-home estimate today. And right now, all listeners can receive a $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for more details. We've been out at Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass a few times this last month. First for our fantasy football draft. We also had a Cardinals away game watch party this past weekend. It's a great place to watch Cardinals games because they have the massive big screen TVs playing it all. But whatever you're looking for, whether you're looking for a state-of-the-art casino, a great concert venue, amazing foods, Gila River Resorts and Casinos has it all. I know PD's been beating the drum of the concert venues, all the artists that I haven't heard of some, but, I'm open to trying new things. If you're looking for a staycation, Gila River Resorts and Casinos has it all.
I was going to say, you might not have heard of all the artists going on at Gila River, but you do you at Gila River. So you can go see the artists. You can go hit the slots. You can go eat some great food. You do you at Gila River,
That's
right?
the best part. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit play@gila.com for more details. All right, back to ASU hockey talk. As I mentioned, it's a transformed team. There's 6 transfers, 6 freshmen, a new sophomore goalie, and a new assistant coach. This is a new Sun Devil team. I know last year they might have been a little bit disappointed by how the year ended. There were so many opportunities that games went to overtime when they should have won. They should have had more points in the standings. It's a blank slate. It's a blank slate for this year. Like I said, we're just under a month away till the season opens. And I know Greg Powers is really excited. He's someone we've talked to on this show time and time again. And PD caught up with head coach Greg Powers this week. So let's hear what he had to say.
Okay, Coach, you're back on the ice with ASU. How have things looked for the first few days on ice at Mullen?
Pretty good. We're a good 10 days in, in limited hours. We're only limited to 4 hours a week with them right now, but we're getting a lot of system stuff in, and we're about ready to see how they go live, and I think the next 3 days we're going to do some live action and get some tape on them and teach through tape. And but we like our team. We like our team a lot. We have a few guys with bumps and bruises that are out right now, so it'll be nice to get a full roster back on the ice soon. But if there's a time for them to be out, it's now, not when we start. But we like our team. We're deep and we're very skilled, and we love our decor. I think this is probably top to bottom the best decor we've ever had.
You talk about injuries, and that was a problem last year. And so you're starting off with a few guys out there, but one of the group, the Jackson brothers, they were guys that had injury issues last year. How are they looking early so far in this first few weeks?
Better than they've ever looked, and they know this is their last year, so it's kind of their last kick at the can in college. And they came back for their 5th year because they wanted to be a part of this NCHC season and do big things for our program. They've been here now 3 years, and they're true Sun Devils, and they've had a tough go, and missed a lot of time over their first 2 years. But when they are healthy, they're electric, and you look at some of the games that they had last year when we had them in the lineup, beating Denver and Dylan scoring a hat trick, and when we got Ty back for the last 12 games, he really was a breath of fresh air and gave us a huge shot in the arm. So it's good to see them really confident right now and 100%. And now we just got to keep it that way.
And you talked about the grad kids that you have back this year, and you've got a pretty large group of seniors and grads coming back. How important is that for the leadership of this group?
It's very important, and it was by design. We wanted to design a very old, experienced team. So we hit the portal hard. Really probably for the last time. We're always going to go to it and pick and choose from it and plug in holes where we need to, but we really wanted to go into this season in the first year conference play with a lot of experience. We have an old group, an old team, and tons of experience from all different leagues across the country, so guys that have competed in conference play. So that was important to us. We have a tremendous freshman up front, obviously, in Cullen Potter, and I think some of the allure to Arizona State for Cullen was that he was the only freshman forward. So he's insulated by a lot of experience around him. He's not going to be perfect out of the gates, but he's going to be good. And I think some of the mistakes he makes as a young player, certainly we're going to insulate with guys that have been there and done that around him.
I want to talk about Cullen Potter because I watched him skate out there for practice. Kid can fly.
Yeah.
Like, his skating is absolutely elite. And I asked the SID, he's 17.
Yeah.
17. And I was shocked to see someone at his age actually even coming into the NCAA. Are there concerns of a 17-year-old kid playing NCAA hockey for you?
I don't think with him. Again, how he's insulated with so much experience around him is really important. I was very curious. I got to know him, and he seemed and appeared to be incredibly mature throughout the recruiting process. And we were right. He is. He is blended in. If you didn't know he was 17 and you interact with him day to day and you see him interact with people in our program, you'd never know he was 17. He's a very mature kid. Does he have some habits and details in his game that we need to continue to work on? Absolutely, like any 17-year-old will. But you said it, with elite of a skater as he is, he's a world-class skater. He has world-class edges and world-class speed. He might be the best skater in this year's draft class. A lot of people think he is. Just the fact that he skates that well, and college hockey speed kills, he's going to be effective right away.
You talked about your veterans and your the graduate kids, and we mentioned the seniors and the insulation of Potter. But you also have to talk about your leadership group. Last year you had Tyler Gratton was your captain. 2 years ago it was Josh Doan. When can we look forward to this group actually putting letters on these guys?
We're going to take votes here in about a week. So, we wanted to let the team settle in and let them naturally establish that kind of leadership group and pecking order. But we believe in a player vote and a staff vote. Everybody gets an equal vote, and we go from there. We did it last year, and Gratton, being a first-year guy and a one-year guy, was almost a unanimous pick. And he was arguably the best captain we've ever had. He was that good. So I think when the room gets what they want from a leadership standpoint, it's better for everybody. So I would say in about 7 to 10 days, you'll know who they are, and I'll know who they are.
You talk about the room. What's the feeling like with this group? I had a chance to talk to Lukas Sillinger, and it seems like he thinks this is a pretty strong group. From a coaching perspective, what do you think about the guys in the room right now?
I think it's a great room. It's a great culture. It's I think my biggest focus as a head coach in college is to make sure culture's good and the room is right. And I feel good about the room. I feel good about their approach every day. They've been dialed. They've been focused. They know our time with them right now is 4 hours a week, so it's very short. And we need to be pointed on how we go about our business, and they have been. So, however they're getting ready when we're not in there, before we go in there, they're doing a really good job of it.
Are you going to be able, with 4 hours a week, for a few more weeks yet, going to be able to get this team ready to go October 4th and 5th up in Colorado to play Air Force?
Yeah, we have a choice. Those are the rules. Everybody has to play by the same ones. So generally and historically, we've usually gotten off to a really good start. So we have a kind of a training camp layout and system in place, and we've templated it for the most part for the last 4 or 5 years, and it works really well with the time that we get with them, and it covers everything that we need to cover. They did change a rule where 2 weeks prior to the first game, we can now use the 8 hours total for on ice, and then the week we play Air Force, we're back into regular hours. So we'll get more time with them this year than we ever have, but I feel good about where we are today.
I've got to talk about the goaltending position. Both of us are goalies. Obviously, if we were 6'5", we might have had a better career. Speaking of that, what are you seeing from Gibson Homer, and what can we expect out of this kid for this season?
He looks really good. He's 6'5", off skates, and he's athletic, and he competes. He reads the play incredibly well. He works harder at his craft than I think anybody I've ever had in this program at any position. And he just is a likable, lovable kid. The team loves him. They play hard for him. He's the guy in net that you want to win for, and so we have high expectations for Gibby. I know he has high expectations for himself. We love our depth at that position. Luke Pavicic has looked really good, a transfer from UMass Lowell, and he's going to play a big role too. You
talk about expectations, and we had a chance to talk with Ty Murchison about expectations, and he set the bar high inside the room with this older leadership group, and he's talking NCAA tournament. He doesn't see any reason why this team can't be in the tournament this season. Tough conference, NCHC, very difficult, the best conference in college hockey. Are those realistic expectations for people to expect from this program?
I think so. I think that we'd be selling ourselves way short if we didn't have those expectations. I think, the last 2 years were a game over 500 against the NCHC in 15 games. So we've been very competitive and successful against everyone in that league, beating North Dakota, beating Denver, beating Omaha, and Colorado College. And so we're confident. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be a lot of bumps in the road, because there are. It's going to be the toughest schedule we've ever played. I think the focus for us right now, and me as a head coach, is putting that kind of to the side right now. And we have 8 non-conference games to focus on before we get into that. So, we're going to talk about segmenting the season, and right now it's those first 8 games that we have to be focused for, and make hay and get some wins before we head into conference play.
The last thing I want to ask you about today is the news just came out that ASU Hockey has signed a TV deal with Fox 10. They've got, I think it's 11 games now going to be on TV here locally. That's a first for ASU Hockey. How important it is to get fresh eyes on this team, especially right now with the other team that we will not mention leaving town.
Yeah, I mean, with the NHL not here, I think it's huge. It's huge for the growth of the game. And, like I've always said, we're a realistic light at the end of the tunnel for kids that play hockey here in the Valley. They'll be able to click on the TV and see Division I hockey against some of the teams they're going to be able to see it against if they can't get in the building for the local school is going to be incredible. And I think just you peel back to how far we've come in such a short period of time. I can remember the days where we were playing at the Ice Den as a club team, and students were trying to get on through dial-up internet just to get our games streamed. And now we're on TV, so it's pretty cool, and it's something we want to make sure is a huge success.
Thanks for taking the time, Coach, and we'll keep up with you all season long.
Awesome. Thanks, Petey.
Thank you again to ASU Hockey head coach Greg Powers for joining us. He's getting up there and one of the most reoccurring guests on this show, but always a great guest. Lots of takeaways from that. First of all, he talked about the TV deal right at the end. Fox 10 will broadcast 11 ASU hockey games this season, starting with the October 12th game against Michigan, and then all Sun Devil hockey home and conference road games will be streamed on NCHC.TV. I think this is great in terms of, just helping grow the game, putting ASU hockey in front of eyes of the people here in the Valley, especially with the Coyotes gone. And listen, I know that you're going to be able to watch Utah here locally. If that's something that interests you, that's fine. But sometimes you want to watch other local hockey on the TV too. So this is a really great opportunity to do that.
And if you want to get hockey back in the Valley, what better way to show that we have talent here, and that, if ASU can go get talent and become a successful program in the long term, that's great for hockey in the Valley in general. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So really looking forward to seeing that. I know some people were disappointed that Cronkite students might not have that opportunity again with this in place. I totally understand that. But I do know that ASU Hockey has been really accommodating of welcoming in Cronkite students to come out and cover the games. So I want to mention that. A couple other things that he talked about, the leadership group, and the Watts brought this up as well in the chat. Letting the team pick is wise to help mesh the teams together. He mentioned that it's a full vote across the team and the coaching staff, and that every vote is equal. I really like that idea. I think it's cool that everyone has a voice. It's not just a decision that the coaching staff makes or a decision that the leadership group makes. I think that can really help, like Watt said, mesh a team together. So I'm really interested to hear. He said it. We'll find out in about 7 to 10 days. So when we find out who the captain is, we'll of course let you know. But obviously Josh Doan was the captain of this team. They've had some great captains in history. So who's going to wear the C this year? We'll see, especially with all that veteran leadership in this group. And last but not least, he talked about Cullen Potter, who Kevin and I were just talking about. What a name. I mean, Cullen, the Cullens of Twilight, and Potter, Harry Potter. Just, I know it's a complete coincidence, but Petey called me after the practice and he said, and listen, you guys know Petey's a coach for 23 years in the NHL. He said, this kid is legit. He's the real deal. Of course, you heard Powers say that he's one of the best skaters potentially in his draft class. This kid's going to be amazing. He's 17 years old, which is absolutely insane to think about. So for no other reason than to see this amazing talent, he's projected currently as a first round NHL draft pick, get out to an ASU game to see this kid. And you're all going to have a chance to do that. And I'm excited to make this announcement. We've been hinting at it for a few weeks, but we can officially announce the ASU Hockey Takeover Saturday, October 12th versus Michigan. This is opening weekend of ASU's hockey season. It's the Saturday game, 5 p.m. We're going to do a pregame meetup at 3 o'clock on Mill Ave. We'll let you know soon where that's going to be. But tickets include a pregame meetup with food and drink, game ticket in section 107, and of course you get to hang out with the the PHNX hockey crew. We're going to take over Mullet Arena this time to support ASU hockey. So link to tickets Kevin just dropped in our chat right now. You can also find it on our website, gophnx.com/events. And you can find the link on our Twitter channel as well at PHNX_hockey. I am so excited for this. I've been seriously counting down the days. I can't wait to get back to Mullet Arena. I can't wait to be there opening weekend. And Michigan, what an opponent. It's going to be a great weekend. So come hang out with us. I know there's some people who have season tickets to ASU hockey. We want you to come to the pregame meetup beforehand. We'll all meet up inside Mullet Arena at the game. It's going to be a blast. And there's also some other surprises in store that we'll announce at a later time. But of course, diehards do save 20% off on all events, including this one. So diehards, make sure you're logged in so you can use your discount code that's on the link when you're logged in as a diehard. And just one of the many great perks to becoming a diehard is getting discounts on all of our events and discounts on our merchandise. We have some great ASU merch in our locker as well. So if you're looking to rock some ASU merch, you can check out store.allcitynetwork.com. So you can check out all our great merch. Yeah, so many great reasons to become a diehard. Join our Discord. We have a hockey Discord. We have the Sun Devil Discord. Just join the family today. What are you waiting for? That's all I'm going to say. Also, access to exclusive written content as well. So we want you to become a diehard, join the family. And we hope to see everybody at our event on Saturday, October 12th for our first takeover of the season. And I couldn't be more excited. And we have more planned in the works as well. All right, we're going to move on from ASU hockey talk and round out the show, talk about some other news and notes all tied in to Arizona hockey. We just talked about going to an ASU hockey game. Tucson Roadrunners individual game tickets are now on sale for all 36 regular season games at Tucson Arena. As a reminder, opening night is Saturday, October 19th down in Tucson. We've said it again and again. Tucson is less than 2 hours away, depending on where you're coming from in the Valley. If you've never been to Tucson Arena, it's an amazing atmosphere. And I just want to keep reiterating, I know the Coyotes are gone, but we have great hockey here in the Valley, the AHL, or in Arizona, that is, the AHL and the NCAA. We're so lucky to have that. We want to keep supporting hockey in Arizona. And we're definitely going to plan to go down the I-10. We're going to, do some post-game shows down there. We'll probably plan a takeover. We know we all love to go to Illegal Pete's on University down there. That's our spot. So make sure if you want to go to some of those games, you can buy your tickets right now, TucsonRoadrunners.com. I wanted everybody to know that was out there. That was us being positive. Now I'm going to enter the part of the show where I'm going to be bitter about stuff, okay? I feel like we should name this segment That Should Be Me. You know the Justin Bieber song? That should be me holding your hand. Okay, that's what I'm going to call this segment. That should be us. So something we've talked about on the show a ton is we wanted to see a game in Mexico that involved the Coyotes. For years, when this was a Coyotes podcast, we talked about that the Coyotes would be the perfect team to, help grow the game in Mexico. And we're seeing other teams get that opportunity. And as they should, those teams should also be doing it. So the Vegas Golden Knights, Dallas Stars, and LA Kings, they have all been active in Mexico. Vegas was there just recently. They're trying to grow the game there, and the game is growing. There's national teams that are, ranked globally. I believe the women's team is actually going to be participating in a pre-Olympic qualifier for the next Olympics, which is amazing to see. They're building rinks all around the country. And the Stars and Kings are among teams that express interest in having an NHL game in Mexico City. And the Golden Knights chief marketing officer said, if there was a preseason game or any type of exhibition game, we would certainly want to be in that conversation. And also the Dallas Stars are exploring having a rink built in Mexico City. All this is extremely great news. I am all for growing the game. We talk about Austin Matthews being of Mexican descent as well. There's so much importance here. The thing that just twists the knife for me, and Craig tweeted this out the other day, the Coyotes should be in this conversation. It should be Dallas, LA, Vegas, and Arizona. And it's just such a miss, one of the great things. And it just stinks because everything could have been great, but it was all wrong. You had the first Latino owner in the NHL. You had the first Latino CEO and president of an NHL team. All of these things, and I know that they did a lot of outreach in the community to try and reach different demographics here in Phoenix and the greater Phoenix area. And they did do those things. that's my fear. I hope it was enough for those communities to be excited about hockey. I'm really, really glad that Dallas, Vegas, and LA are taking these initiatives down in Mexico. But if they do announce a game and it's between two of those three teams, I'm going to be really salty because I really feel like Arizona should have been in that conversation. I know that it was something that Craig asked Gary Bettman about. I don't think they were quite ready. But when the Coyotes went to Australia last year, which was amazing, and like I'm so lucky that I got to go on that trip. Australia is great, and we met so many amazing Australians, people who are really interested in the NHL there, and I guarantee you that trip kind of laid the foundation for maybe a next generation of hockey fans in Australia, and that's great. We have Mexico right next to the United States. There's no reason why the NHL shouldn't explore going there for an exhibition game, a preseason game. As the guy from the Golden Knights said, I just wish that Arizona was still part of the league to be part of that effort. So that just kind of hurts. So that should be us. And my next that should be us rant is this morning, and this was sent in our Discord, the Carolina Hurricanes revealed their plans for a $1 billion entertainment district. Are we all triggered by the word entertainment district? Because I am. First of all, they put out a first look at this multi-mixed-use development. Again, that's a word we've all heard before, right? It's a $1 billion development in the surrounding area to serve as home to the Carolina Hurricanes and NC State basketball. It's an 80-acre site. Again, that should be us, like all these things. And there was also conversation in our Discord about what's going on in Atlanta and how that development's going. And it's just, again, it's one of those things where it's so hard because I don't want to sit here and say, like, that should be us. Instead, that should be us also. I think it's great. I love seeing the growth of the game in Carolina. The fans there have been amazing. I love that it's a non-traditional market. You guys know I'm a huge proponent of non-traditional hockey markets. I'm glad that they have that. That should be us. We should be talking, honestly, not even the North Phoenix site. We should be talking about the Tempe Entertainment District. That should have passed. That's where we should be. That we should be doing a show right now on where things stand on the construction of that site. And instead, we're talking about the Coyotes being gone. And it's really disheartening and it's really frustrating. Again, I'm extremely thrilled for the Carolina Hurricanes and their fan base. I'm extremely thrilled for the city of Atlanta. And I hope I'm a proponent. They should get a third shot. I think they should. I know there's people who don't think that, but it's just frustrating. That should be us.
Yeah, and if you want to talk about, putting effort, I think we all have heard like the idea that parents play favorites. They have a favorite child. If you're an Arizona Coyotes fan, you must kind of be feeling that way because the investment into other teams is not as I'll say fair as the investment that was put into the Coyotes. I think what came to my mind was the NFL games overseas. They have sent some premier franchises over there, but for the most part, they're trying to grow the game by investing in smaller franchises, franchises that don't have as big of a brand. And so I do think you look at what's going on in the NHL and think, that should be us here in Arizona. That should be us getting our brand grown, exposed to different markets, especially because the Arizona brand is so close to what's down south in Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not for lack of trying on the NHL's part. I know that Gary Bettman and Bill Daly did everything they could to keep the NHL here. It really came down to Alex Morello and a string of other bad owners in that. But and it's great that the Coyotes got to go to Australia. And again, it goes back to one of those things, though. That was amazing. We all remember the Logan Cooley highlight reel goal. The sense that I got there, obviously there were some Kings fans there in Melbourne, but the sense that I got there was, Australia, Melbourne, they love an underdog. And the Coyotes kind of had that. They were this team on the rise. Then Logan Cooley scores this unbelievable viral highlight reel goal. And I think there was a generation made of would have been Coyotes fans, Logan Cooley fans that would follow them in that career. And that would have been a perfect opportunity for Arizona to have this pocket of fans halfway around the world. And who knows, maybe they're going to follow Utah. Or maybe they'll, wait for Arizona to come back like I am. But that's another thing that's just kind of frustrating and disheartening that that was established and that could continue to be established elsewhere. We're just losing time on people loving and caring about Arizona. The one thing I will say is I think that the Kachina brand and the Kachina logo is kind of timeless. And I hope that when a team does come back here, they'll go back to that because I think that's something that you see. And for all we made fun of Alex Morello Jr. and then the fashion stuff, I do think there is something to sports and fashion and helping bring in other communities through fashion. And I think that the brand of the Coyotes, the just the logo and the Kachina logo, that could be enough to keep that generation of fans in Melbourne and potentially maybe hopefully one day Mexico for when this team does come back. And we're all hoping it's sooner rather than later, of course. Last thing though, this is a saga has come to a close, and we tweeted this on our account the other day. And I know this is something we talked about heavily after the last ever Coyotes game, and it had to do, of course, with the Shane Doan banner, which our friend Matthew, AZ Sports Guy, rescued from Gila River Arena and hand-delivered to Shane Doan himself at the final Coyotes game. And now the banner has a permanent home at the Ice Den in Scottsdale in the rink named after Shane Doan himself, the Shane Doan rink at the Ice Den in Scottsdale. It will permanently be displayed there. And people on Twitter were saying, well, hopefully when the Coyotes do come back in the new arena, it will be displayed there. I totally agree. But in the meantime, I can't think of a better place than the Shane Doan rink at the Ice Den for this banner to be on display over the weekend. People could go take pictures with the banner. I know a lot of our diehards did that. I think it's really great that they did that. I can't think of a better place for it. And I'm just glad it's in the hands of people who truly value that, like what that means for Arizona hockey and how important Shane Doan is for Arizona hockey. You know, Dan says the Doan banner looks fantastic at the Ice Den. Absolutely. I haven't even seen it hanging up in the rink yet. I would love to see it. If anyone's gone and taken a picture, tweet at me or at our account at PHNX_hockey. But a fitting resting place, or maybe even a temporary place. We'll see. I'm being hopeful that when the team returns, they can hang in their brand new arena somewhere in an ideal location that gets built efficiently. We can dream, right? But I think the Ice Den in Scottsdale is a great place, and I'm really, really glad that it's there and it's not in a closet at Gila River Arena somewhere, or somewhere that the Morellos put it that we don't know about. So I'm really glad. It's honestly a sacred item, and it's so important to not only the history of the Coyotes, but Arizona hockey in general. So I was extremely happy to see it end up at the Ice Den. That's all I got today. My first solo show. I mean, thank you to PD for putting in the work at ASU Hockey Practice. And thank you to Lukas Sillinger and Greg Powers for taking some time to chat with us. As I mentioned, we're going to be covering ASU hockey all season long, along with, we're going to, of course, cover the NHL. We're going to cover potentially any rumors that we hear about the NHL returning to Arizona. We'll cover the Roadrunners and more. So all of that you can find here on our YouTube channel, PHNX Sports. Make sure you're subscribed, and make sure you subscribe to wherever you get your audio podcasts as well, because we have weekly audio only episodes, including one dropping this Friday that dives a little bit deeper into the history of ASU hockey. More from Greg Powers in that one. So that's coming out this Friday, and we of course have weekly audio only shows as well. So I sincerely appreciate everybody here in the chat, Nick, Dan, the Watts, Charles, Cheryl, all of you. I see you, William, Erica. Thank you all so much for being here. Chris, I appreciate you. Whether you're watching this live or later, be sure to hit the thumbs up button on this video, and make sure again you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss when we go live. Like I mentioned, audio show dropping later this week on Friday. You can follow all of us on Twitter at PHNX_hockey, at Leah Merrill, at Kev Tom Wrights. Did I get it?
Nailed it.
I finally got it. I knew it would take a couple weeks, but I got it. And of course, you can follow PD on Twitter at SPetersHockey. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, everybody, and we'll talk to you very soon.
We all silly like the mayor.